Welcome to Small Insight, Big Impact, the podcast where we explore ideas, strategies to improve our professional and daily life. Today, we will be looking at a concept that sounds like science fiction, but has profound impact on our lives and our daily activities, especially our professional growth. And this is the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect is a principle that is actually carved from chaos theory. The idea is that the butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil sort of could create, like hurricanes in Texas those days. So that was the reason behind it. And instead, but today we are not going to look at the origin of the butterfly effect. But what we are going to do today is to see how we can apply the butterfly effect in our life in terms of what we do, and then see how best we can take small actions to create ripples of change in our life. Let's start with a personal application of the butterfly effect. We often think that to make a big change, we need to be healthy, we need to, be building new skills or be improving our mindset, taking giant steps or maybe even drastic leaps. But the truth is, most big transformations are the results of small and consistent actions. So think about it this way: learning a new skill, you don't become a master overnight. You dedicate a few minutes a day, probably 10 minutes a day, to practicing. And over the months and over the years, these tiny uh, practices and sessions, compound. And one day you look back, you realize that you've made significant progress in what you've set out to do. Same applies to improving our health, for example. Instead of taking like a drastic measures around our diet, or maybe swapping one soda for a glass of water or whatever it's out there, taking small steps that are manageable in terms of the habits that you build over time accumulate into major long-term health improvements. So cultivating a positive mindset involves the start of small gestures, small actions of, say, for example, gratitude in the morning, acknowledging that things that you've gotten, and be thankful to what you have and the situations that you find yourself. That in itself can shift the entire day for you, your entire perspective for the day. So the key here is consistency, making consistent small actions with a view to changing whatever you set out to do. A single action won't change your life, but a sum of small actions performed repeatedly is what shapes your future. These small positive habits build what we call momentum. It makes it easy for you to tackle bigger challenges down the line. So the principle of butterfly effect is just as powerful in our careers as in our personal life. The job that you have today is a culmination of countless small decisions that you've made over the years. So if you say yes to a project, for example, it starts with that yes, and that leads to probably a conversation, leads to a plan, leads to a meeting, and eventually leads to assigned responsibilities and roles at work. So you can see taking that small step or making that initial action of accepting a task will eventually change what you do. So a single decision opens up a whole entire career path for you. If you take a case where you have to pivot, for example, like in terms of change careers, or you're going through tough times in terms of whether layoffs or maybe family issues that are affecting your performance at work, what you just need to do is just to adopt the butterfly effect. Take small actions and then make sure you take time to explore new areas with small actions that you can progressively identify that it's actually helping you to be able to have a better fit for your passion. What you want to avoid is to just jump into a new field, but rather use the small insights or shifts that you've gotten or have to assess the circumstances that you want before you really make that decision. And taking control of your time is also very important. I'll give an example in my own case where I had to better manage my time. I needed to sort of create a balance between my personal and professional life. So I learned how to set aside dedicated time for work, family, and also for my own personal pursuits. I did this by setting clear boundaries, breaking tasks into small, manageable chunks. The small changes that I made on daily basis resulted in greater productivity and later on, led to a whole fulfillment in what I do every day, what I do every week, and eventually every month. So what you need to remember is how can you consistently and conscientiously, harness the power of the butterfly to be able to make the best out of your situation. First, you need to identify the desired change that you're looking for. And this requires that you are very honest to yourself. That's very important because if you are not honest to yourself, you will be identifying the wrong things that you want to take the small steps to improve. And then also, what areas of your life could you use a small intentional shift or small actions? These are, self-reflection questions that will help you identify what small actions you can take to be able to move a step, and eventually, if you add all those steps together, you should be able to see some progress in your life. And then, based on the insight that you've generated, define the small actions that you want to take. It's important not to try to solve everything at once. Focus on the smallest actually, and the most manageable steps that you can take, because that is where it's easy to sort of make a difference. For example, if you want to be a good public speaker, commit to speaking up during meetings so that you'll be able to make sure you hone that public speaking skill set. And it's also very important for you to prioritize consistency over intensity. And the more you do stuff, the better you become at it. So it's always very important to be consistent in your actions. It's also better to do small things every day than a huge thing once and then get burned out. Burnout is something that you don't want to go through or you don't want to experience. So try and take what you can comfortably handle and that you know that you definitely get results. And with that, you are actually building a whole system and habit that will achieve a small goal now, but eventually lead to a bigger goal in whatever you do. You need to also embrace the unknown because the ripple effects that you are creating now with your small actions will eventually add up to produce a better outcome or a predictable outcome in the future. Acknowledge that you can't control everything and be open to unexpected opportunities that may arise in your actions. The external environment, you don't have control over it. Things happen, so you need to make sure you have that buffer space to be able to accommodate any changes that are likely to happen, even during the small actions that you take, so that you'll be able to adapt easily and still move forward with your small steps and actions. The butterfly effect reminds us that our influence extends beyond what we can immediately see. Every choice that you make, even the smallest one, is a flip of a wing, and you have the power to direct that wing. It's very important because the small steps that you take that determine where exactly you go and which direction. So that's how powerful the effect is. That's all I have for you today in this episode. Thanks for being part of Small Insights, Big Impact. I am Dr. Cheche. Until then, happy flipping your wings.